Well, here's that video I promised you on my birthday dinner, plus a lot more. In our last video, I told you about our meal at the Brown Derby, and the fact that I sat down, fingers poised, and only managed to get a backup boarding group for Rise of the Resistance. Well, we're not going to let a little thing like that spoil our day for us, so instead, we got into the 55-minute long line to experience Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway for the first time. Although the board said 55 minutes, it was probably no more than 25, but factor in the heat index, and I guess that makes it more like 3 days. Now, I'm sure many of you have seen a POV video of the ride by now, but I'm going to show you the ride as Bob sees it. I'm having so much fun working the channel name in all these videos. I can't even tell you. Anyway, I'm going to show you something you probably haven't seen. The handicap transfer procedures. And yes, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is a must transfer ride. But first, let's talk about my birthday dinner. I made the reservations as a surprise for Jean because she really seemed to enjoy the meal the last time we were here. And of course, I'm talking about Enzo's Hideaway and Tunnel Bar in Disney Springs. The backstory here is that while they were working on the pipes in the Miami-based Maria and Enzo's, they uncovered a 1920s New York speakeasy hidden in an unused section of the subway system. Now, I don't really care that much about backstories, but Enzo's Hideaway does run heavy on theming, including the graffiti-covered walls. And I gotta admit, it's kinda cool. They even have the hidden alcoves where the big boss could carry on a meeting with a gang. Well, we don't have that kind of pull, so we were seated in the main dining room. And just like upstairs at Maria and Enzo's, the menu here is Italian. And, just like everywhere else, you gotta pull it up on your phone. It's kind of obvious that the pandemic is having a negative effect on restaurants, but it's gotta be way worse for hidden gems like Enzo's. You can't get to Enzo's from Maria and Enzo's very quickly, at least not in a wheelchair. You gotta stay on the lower level and approach it by passing Planet Hollywood from the Orange Garage, or by Morimoto and Art Smith's Homecoming from the Lime Garage, and that's currently closed. Either way, it's worth the trip. Oh, and if any of you know who I can contact about renting one of these apartments, let me know. We're still looking for a place to live, but it probably doesn't have an elevator. Oh well. Well, back to Enzo's Hideaway. As I said, it's Italian. Real Italian, not Olive Garden Italian. When you order spaghetti and meatballs, you get spaghetti. Not angel hair or one of the others, but big, fat, handmade spaghetti. And that's what I chose for my birthday meal. My spaghetti e polpette came with two of the biggest meatballs I've ever seen. Jean, ever the rebel, chose just the meatballs. And it was probably a good idea too, because neither one of us had room for dessert after dinner. And as the sun went down, we left the overly crowded, not quite social distancing Disney Springs and headed back to our room, because the next day, we were headed to Hollywood Studios. Okay, now I really want to know what that button is for.
I got a bad feeling about this.
The next morning, about 1 p.m., we headed over to the park. I took the Skyliner, while Jean drove the car over. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it feels kind of like we're traveling at half speed. And that's where we met up. I'm looking down in the parking lot to see if Jean got a good spot or not. She drove over. We have a white SUV. You know how many white SUVs there are? We headed to our lunch reservation. Oh, that's where I was. In line for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which really should be called Goofy's Runaway Railway because Goofy's your engineer.
Gosh.
Just before entering the boarding area, wheelchair users are funneled off into a special loading area. This is where you will board and depart your train car. This way, handicap loading doesn't slow down the regular boarding procedures. They can even add you to the center of any train since the cars aren't connected and really work independently. It would have been nice if they had a ride-on handicap accessible train car, but this is the next best thing and way better than the Navi River Journey over in Pandora. They will, however, allow you to take your chair all the way up to the side of the car, and then you transfer. Now, a little bit of warning for those of you like me with back problems. Minnie and Minnie's Runaway Railway tends to toss you around quite a bit.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, excellent! You're all waltzing so beautifully together. Oh.
But overall, the ride is pretty awesome.
Told you nothing was gonna go wrong.
But all in all, I really enjoyed it and would recommend it if it's the last thing you're going to do that day. After riding the Runaway Railroad, we headed back to our room. But I kept my eye on our backup boarding pass. Around 5:30, our group was closing in on being selected. And then it happened. Our boarding group was called, and we had 1 hour to report to the loading area. Being a Pop Century, we were just across from Hollywood Studios, and we weren't about to miss it. What is missing is all of the videos I shot on the Rise of the Resistance. Yep, every single video and still photo I took is gone, somewhere in the great video afterlife. Apparently, I didn't download the SD card before I formatted it. I don't format cards, but it was giving me such a hard time that this time I did. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank my wife, who at least was able to get some shots of the attraction.
You have failed me for the last time.
We'll start with the briefing.
BB-8, is everyone assembled? Good.
After a briefing with a hologram of Rey and BB-8 himself, you head out to the troop ship that will take you to the Rebel base. As you enter, pay attention to the crashed Star Destroyer over in the background. That's where you actually exit the ride after completing your escape from Imperial forces. Poe Dameron's X-Wing is sitting right there to escort you. And thanks to diminished park attendants, our group consisted of me, Gene, and another couple. 2 groups to a transport, I guess. After being intercepted by the Empire, your ship is brought aboard a Star Destroyer by a tractor beam. And Imperial officers board your ship, escorting you into the large hangar bay, where dozens of stormtroopers stand at the ready. At this point, I was a little surprised because I thought we'd exit through the door opposite of where we came in. But we didn't. We exited through the same door into the hangar. From the hangar, we were directed into holding cells where we met General Hux and Kylo Ren. Honestly, they didn't look like projections to me, but soon your cell wall explodes and you're led into the boarding hallway where you're going to be placed on transports. At this point, wheelchair users are sent to a separate section where transports can take their time loading. Then the next part of your adventure continues.
2 hours later.
Okay, so maybe it's not 2 hours, but during that time you're on board, you face off against not 1, but 2 AT-ATs, take a turbo lift up, get shot at by more stormtroopers, find yourself in the Star Destroyer's bridge, head through the turbo cannon bay where they're firing at rebel ships, head into another turbo lift where you watch a lightsaber being thrust through the roof, confront a Kylo Ren animatronic, and then get off the Star Destroyer in an escape pod which subsequently crash lands. Well, that sounds like 2 hours to me, but like all cool rides, it ends too soon. enjoyed this video, and yes, I will be returning to Rise of the Resistance to film the entire ride for you. A big thumbs up would be a good incentive for me. And I want to give a special thanks to all those who made my Changes at Fort Wilderness video the fastest growing Bob Sees It video ever. You guys can also help me out as a member of the Bob Sees It team. Just head over to patreon.com/AsBobSeesIt. Signing up for as little as $1 a month will help me make more videos like this. And if you enjoyed this particular video and would like to see more, all you have to do is subscribe. It's free. You can even get your friends to sign up. But remember, when you do subscribe, don't forget to click on that bell icon. That way you'll be notified for sure the next time I upload a video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.